Hello and welcome back to See John Make. In this video I'm going to be building a modern Adirondack chair from this template kit that I ordered from Rockler. These kits are really handy when you're building something like an Adirondack chair that really has to look like what people have in their mind in order to work. And they also just make the project a lot simpler. So when you open one of these kits, they come with an instruction sheet, but they also come with these cardboard templates. These templates are labeled for the individual pieces that you need. So it's pretty simple just to trace these onto the piece and cut them out. Now you could do that directly, but even simpler, even though a little bit more work up front, is to take them and trace them onto something like this, which is a half-inch piece or half-inch thick MDF. I've traced out all of the pieces here and I've labeled them. And what's nice about putting them on here is not only are they more rigid, so they won't break down over time, but also I can throw them on the router and I can template route my pieces to get an exact fit for the original templates, which I couldn't do with cardboard. So let's take it over to the bandsaw. We're going to cut as close to these lines as we can, and then we'll fine tune it with the sander to get right down to the line. So I'm going to talk over this part a little bit just to give a little bit of guidance on kind of what I'm doing and some tips for when you're cutting out templates from a larger piece to bandsaw like this. So instead of taking the large piece that has many pieces inside of it and trying to cut directly to the lines when you're doing that, the most important thing you want to do is to separate the piece away first. So if you look right here, you'll see I'm taking the board and I'm kind of splitting an individual template piece away so that I can more easily pay attention to the small curves that are part of the piece. And when I'm cutting these pieces, I'm not trying to get on the line because with bandsaw drift, you often, when you're trying to get on the line, will end up cutting into the piece, and that can really mess it up because you're trying to aim for this exact size that you're trying to get. So typically try to stay about a 1/16 of an inch away from the line, and then I sand down to the line afterward. Obviously, if you're more comfortable with the bandsaw, you can get a little bit closer. Sometimes I get a little bit closer. Honestly, sometimes I hit the line, and that's okay. You can also see I'm using the bandsaw here kind of between cuts to chop up pieces. The only reason I'm doing that is so that I can fit them into my garbage can. So, you know, if you need to do that, you can. Obviously, if you don't need to, that's fine too. So here we're just doing a quick pan around the pieces to kind of give you an idea of how close I'm getting with the bandsaw to these lines. So this is before sanding, and then we'll clean it up afterward. Okay, so just to circle back here on what these look like when they're finished, you can see what I've done here is I've taken the bandsaw, I cut close to the line, and then I brought some sandpaper, and I brought it right down to the line. Now these don't have to be perfect, but got them pretty close. What I did is I brought them with an 80 down to the line, and then I took some 120, and I went and I softened all the edges, and I softened the corners here so that, you know, if something hits them, they're not going to chip off as easily. So now I have this really nice piece that I can route with, and that's what we're going to do in the next video. So stay tuned, and see you soon.